Previously.
Now we need to decide whether he also killed this guy, his ex-wife's boyfriend. Please. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. And this has to be a mistrial.
If this is not a mistrial situation, I don't know what is.
Something else I was thinking about that had come up was the lack of asking for a mistrial yesterday. Is something that everybody should know, though, about that is something that at this point in time, I don't believe that even if anybody had moved for it, I don't know if Schrader would have granted it. He would have waited until after everything was done. He'll wait, get a jury verdict, and then because you can grant or deny a mistrial motion up until the time that there's a judgment on the verdict. So you can wait until after the verdict comes back and grant a mistrial. It's just before that procedurally, at least in the state of Wisconsin, is it can be granted up until the time that there is a judgment made on the verdict. So that is something, I think even if they had made that argument, things like that wouldn't have been ruled on right away. But, and I know a lot of people were frustrated wanting to know, why didn't asking for mistrial. And I know the people involved on defense in this, and I believe they're competent. So I think it probably has to do with some type of strategy. I'm not sure whether it's a good strategy or a bad strategy, but I think they probably didn't do that for a reason. And it could be something as simple as Zachariah Anderson not wanting to put his daughter through that again. It's his life. It's his choice. And that is something that you could tell by watching him, just how, I felt at least how concerned he was about it, and watching her struggle so much.
That's a good point, Natalie.
I mean, because if we did it again, she'd have to testify again.
I've shown you the pictures of Mr. Anderson.
Somebody had asked something, I think, in a super chat before I left. I don't know if it was yours or if it was still when Jeff was streaming, but asking about whether or not there was any political pressure or something like that to bring this case. So fun fact about Rosalio Gutierrez is he actually was, I believe, a victim witness, staff coordinator person for the state of Wisconsin Public Defender's Office, Madison office, from 2009 to 2012. So that was the reason I even heard about it to start with. It's because it was in the legal community, a staff member of the Public Defender's Office was murdered. But, I believe that.
Well, because I think his mum was a court clerk as well. So
yeah, and if you look at his there's biography and stuff of his different places. He also has a major in criminal justice and studies and criminology type things. His bachelor's. Right. So, somebody had mentioned in the chat I saw as well is maybe he killed somebody and the other person's blood is what's there. We don't know, and he's just on the lam. There are so many possibilities, but I think that there was. If you look at the timing of everything, I mean, it probably was politically motivated, at least in some part, just because also of community pressure. Is I'm sure, there's people who've been there, they made their own ribbons, things like that. You can get a case charged kind of by making a huge fuss. I've had cases before that were dismissed because there's basically no evidence, and then the victim threw a fit for a year and a half and they refiled it. So I'm not saying that that's the way it should work, but I'm saying that that is a legitimate thing that does happen.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, guys,
at least in the area I'm in.
Fair enough. DA somehow managed to live without a brain. Well, we got to be nice.
We don't have to be.